Liverpool was the European capital of the transatlantic slave trade. Responsible for half of Britain's trade, ships departing Liverpool would go on to carry an estimated 1.5 million Africans into slavery. Now the Mayor of Liverpool's calling for new sites to explain the place names connected to the slave trade.
I think there's been a lot of discussions in Liverpool for many years about whether or not you either change the names of certain streets that have a relationship with transatlantic slavery, or you put some information beside those street names. So it's not a new discussion, but it's a really welcome and timely announcement by Liverpool City Council that they kind of want to take it to the next level. So as a Museum of International Slavery, the leading museum in the world on that subject, we have a lot of knowledge and experience around the subject, and we'd be happy to get involved in the process.
It's about looking at the history of the city, and local people know the history to a great degree. Visitors maybe not so much, so it's looking at the history, but looking at it in context. We are not the sum total of enslavement. As black people, we have made major contributions, positive contributions in all aspects of life to society. Whether that be medicine, whether that be through industry, whether that's through literature, art, and we need to be part and parcel of that. We need to be recognised for what we bring to the table, rather than being, a group of people who were once enslaved. So, as I say, in its context, but let's look to the future and let's look to what positive contributions we can continue to make, but more importantly, to make sure that the contributions we make are publicised and acknowledged.
Joe Anderson said painting, street names and buildings in the city were an important part of the historical record which should not be concealed. A motion to the City Council submitted by Mr Anderson to be discussed said it's important to ensure city visitors and residents are given an honest account of the historical role which our city and such figures played in history.
One of the most well-known, because it's a very popular street, is Bull Street, which is a very bohemian street. I shop there myself all the time. It's a famous street, named after Jonas Bold, who was a slave trader. Tarleton Street, just at the side of Marks and Spencer's. A lot of people walk down it, probably don't give it a second glance really. Named after a member of the Tarleton family who made a lot of money on the enslavement of Africans. So there's a lot of street names, the well-known ones, and then lots of nooks and crannies. I've got a young family. If I'm walking through the streets of Liverpool and my son and my daughter ask me who's that, I think you need to tell them exactly who it is. And if there's a bit of information there, and it might not be particularly palatable to people, but if the real history is there, then surely that should be something that's welcomed.
In 1999, the council made a formal apology for the city's role in the trade, and it's since held annual events to commemorate Slavery Remembrance Day.